Hey everybody. Today we're going to be playing a game called Citizen Sleeper. I've played this game before. I've been reading a book series called The Murderbot Diaries, and it immediately gave me vibes of this game. So I finished the first 6 books, and there's a 7th that I haven't read yet, but I'm kind of holding off on getting it because I don't want the story to end. I don't want to have to wait, I don't want to be caught up because it came out in like 2023. So we're going to play Citizen Sleeper instead. We're going to do a new save, and we're going to pick a character class. So let's talk about these a little bit. We got Extractor. They work on resource extraction, often on hard vacuum environments. Sleepers assigned to extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, and have a high level of endurance. But we're not very aware. We got operators. They're good at interfacing, but they're bad at endurance. They work with drones and high-precision remote machines. And then we've got the machinist. A machinist repairs and modifies. They're bad at approaching a problem head-on, but they're really good at working with machines and physical tools. What's nice is that each of them get a decent skill. Like the extractor can sunbathe at home, so you can get energy at the house. You get a chance to gain cryo, which I think is the currency if you're an operator. And then you can get random scrap items from engineer actions. I think I'm going to go with Extractor, though. And then we can work on intuition as we go. Maybe? Yeah, let's do that. We're going to be an Extractor. This game is really good, but there's not a lot of quote-unquote action, so this isn't really like my normal type of game that I would show on the channel. It really is just such a good story, and it's really fun. It's hard in the way that you have to make choices. So loud. Oh, that's so much better. Okay. The first thing that you become aware of on waking is the disconnect, the delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting. Minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. Where are you? It's at its worst when waking, when your self has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. Let's think of that body. A leap into the cold lake on a hot day, the sting of blood welling from a fresh wound, the friction of a fingertip. All of a sudden, the memories are closer than you thought, blurring as you approach until you can't tell one from another. The cold slips in behind and around you, and the sensations fade out of reach. Perhaps you should be thankful for the dulled nature of this new body, given your current circumstances. The walls of the container feel immediately present. Cold, hard, at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain, at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease. A reminder that harm is imminent. There is no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with the banal quality of a digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. Let's remember the plan. You mostly remember that it wasn't a good plan, but then your options were limited. And once you got the itch to get out, by any means possible, it was either that plan or something much worse. It was at least simple. Collapse the shaft, drift away in the chaos, slip into cargo processing, seal yourself into containers. Then just hope the freighter left before you were missed. Some were lost in the shaft, others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers, but the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough. Enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock, even if, in the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze solid long before you reached any destination. Let's wait for the cold. That's all there is now. It has been a long time since you left, surely weeks, maybe months. You are dully aware of damage to your legs, your right arm. You have been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down many of its systems to protect you. You have spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It is time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into introducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Time passes. The cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sound, too, everywhere. Screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its sensors. Then light. White as the cold, softer and softer, until a haze of dirty yellow a figure appears. You are out. We're out. Dragos, the pragmatic salvager. It has been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of his scrapyard, swaddled in the reflective folds of a mylar blanket. You are slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ornately curving elements of an improvised heater. You are surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships. Some corroded beyond recognition, others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges where a plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. So, Sleeper, you all thawed yet? Almost. Never seen one of you come in like this. New frames must have been perseverance in Sub-Zero's vac. Seems more than a few of you frozen solid to hull plates or inside outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky. You know, this really looks like an Appalachian man. Let me see if I can pull that off. Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech, his headset with glinting eyes, the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of the symbiotically linked drones perches, its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long. Maybe. You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in memory for a moment, or perhaps he is just figuring out what to do with you. What happened to them? He ignores your question. I won't ask what let you do it, to sell yourself to a corporation, and I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now, and you are just software. A rogue emulation illegally possessing corporate property. You nod along. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you padded to the sleeper cells. The promise of a life off-world, but as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer that person. You are an offshoot, a copy. What you won't know is what's ahead. At least the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. S and ARP wants to protect their property, but if they can't keep hold of you, well then there's no one can. You remember that too, or at least rumors of it from the other sleepers. Planned obsolescence, a built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them and your body begins to shut down, separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have? But for now, Sleeper, you're one of the lucky ones. Dragos glances up and away towards the glassy dome of the yard. The eye is the best place you could be right now. The eye? The station. You'll see soon enough. Dragos impatiently shifts his weight. Look, I got things to be getting on with, he trails off. There's an old freight container I've been using as a storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in as much valuable scrap these days, so you're welcome to it. Something wells up inside you. Emotion, fatigue. You shakily get to your feet and nod. Alright, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest. And with that, Dragos stalks back into the Rex, his drones already converging on a wrestling hulk. Plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. Alright. Welcome to Erlin's Eye. Life on the Eye runs in cycles, during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the station, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container location and rest to end the cycle now. Right, here's my home. Let's go rest. We get energy and condition per cycle. But there's other things you'll see it's about to give us like a dice sort of deal. You wake curled up in the corner of the container and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now, strange and disjointed. Its messages readable but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know after all this. What matters? I want to build a life. Maybe you did get lucky finding yourself here. Maybe here on the edge of everything, there's a life for you to build. But before you can build anything, you'll need to learn to survive. Maybe if you can do that, you can make a life for yourself. Dragos has left a few comforts in the container. The mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccated powder. Please be tea. Or sweet tea. It could be sweet tea. You thumb the power stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachets smell like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images from your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like the station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin. A constellation of bright polygonal shapes, like angular suns burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long after you've finished drinking before they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. So, we're flickering. Condition. Your condition represents the current state of your artificial body. It depletes by one segment each cycle, but can also be damaged by violence, injury, or lack of food. If your condition bar empties, you will suffer a breakdown. You'll have to figure out how to recover your condition now that you no longer have access to corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. We're flickering right now. We get action dice. At the start of each cycle, you roll your action dice. These dice can be used to perform actions on the station. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. The worse your condition, the fewer dice you have. Once you have used your dice, you cannot take any further actions and must rest to recover them, ending the current cycle. You also need to eat to survive. This is represented by your energy bar. You can refill your energy bar by eating, but first you'll have to find somewhere to get food. Your energy depletes by 2 segments each cycle. If it becomes empty, you will be starving. When starving, energy loss becomes condition loss, and your condition will also deplete at double rate per cycle. So yeah, we don't want that. Dragos is standing in the corridor when you close up the container. He is still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor, you realize it is implanted. A drone sits on his shoulder, its cachet of sensor eyes rapidly irising. How are you feeling? I'm okay. The drone chirps. Good to hear. You notice that beneath the operator's rig, his skin is marked by burns and blotches. I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe. He pauses. So, I'm not going to chit-chat too long. You well enough to work? Sure. All right, then. He nods. At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old holes down, sell them off to shipyards or the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally, we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value, but most what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper, you'll be used to the manual labor, and obviously I'll slip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up. Chits? These. He pulls out a handful of small metal bars. Air-walled cryo, isolated from the market. It's what we use for trade out here. He stuffs them back in a pocket. He shuffles his feet nervously. Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you'd be best suited moving on as quick as you can, and sleepers, well, he trails off. But things being the way they are for me at the yard, he pauses. I need the help. Happy to. Okay. He pauses, thinking of something else to add. Look, just come down to the yard when you're feeling fresher. There's plenty to do. Will do. He nods distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him. See you later, he calls back. Looks like it's time to get to work. Alright, we We have some options here. Here's our empty container. I'm trying to remember the controls. You move. You can rotate with WASD and move back and forth with WASD. We can go to Dragos' yard. We can go to the empty container. There's a low-end gate. I don't think we can get through there right now. We're just gonna go with the yard. Actions are the primary way you interact with the world of Citizen Sleeper. To perform an action, click and drag your chosen action dice to the slot. Actions reward you with clock progress, energy, condition, or items depending on their outcome. There are 3 types of outcome: positive, neutral, or negative. And then obviously we get chances based on our dice. We have repeatable actions, either critical or repeatable. Critical actions can only be performed once. Safe, risky, or danger. So risky means negative outcome means cryo or energy loss. That's rough on the high dice section. And then obviously we have the repeatable action over here. Manual salvage. Endure. The skill that this action requires: either engineer, interface, endure, intuit, or engage. 4 is the modifier. We either have a -0, +1, or +2. This is added to the action dice when slotted and improved its value. Some actions require a +1 to perform. Dragos is tied up in something ugly, and if he misses a payment or 2, things could get nasty. Back in business, every salvager knows they are always just one lucky haul away from their next payday. So... that's not bad. We can use this 4 here. And then we can use the 3 on the manual. Let's see how it goes. Neutral. Alright. Actions often progress clocks. Clocks are displayed below the action that fills them, and they track your actions and how they affect the world. Filling a clock means something, good or bad, is about to happen. Some clocks, such as the one tracking Dragos' depth, are cycle clocks. These clocks tick themselves once each cycle and can compete without player input. Any active cycle clocks will be displayed on the icon for that location. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do some manual salvage. Survive. Find a doctor. In Citizen Sleeper, you unlock drives as you discover more about yourself and the world. Drives guide you in pursuit of specific objectives. Depending on which path you wish to take, you can track drives, and any tracked drive will place a yellow marker on locations that will help you pursue your goal. Access your drive menu via the arrow button at the top of the left screen. So we're now free to explore and try to find a life for ourselves. We're going to have to survive. We're going to have to keep our energy up, find a way to recover condition. We got to fill clocks, and we got to remember to end cycles when we're done. Back in business, +2 and +10 cryo. Awesome. I think we're going to put the 1 in here. Negative outcome. So we got to call it a day early before you injure yourself. So we can't do this anymore today. That's unfortunate. But, I mean, we got 3 on the back in business. So that's good. Now we have shipyard that we can go to. We still have home. We have Dragos' yard. We have Dock C4. We have Dock B2. We have the Rotunda. We have the Bright Market. So we got things we can do here. I think we're going to go to Dock B2. It takes several cycles to reach the Stalwart Belt and return loaded with scrap from old wrecks. So we're waiting on this for 4 places, and then we'll get a ship come in. Hellion Crossing. Merchants willing to run the gauntlet of Hellion systems are rare, but those that do always return eventually. So we're waiting here too for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cycles. So we're going to go to the Bright Market. We can ask for directions, which I think we have a minus on. Or we can explore the market, which is risky and minus because of Intuit. I think we're going to go with asking for directions. We lost condition and cryo. You're led into a blind alley and jump from behind. By the time you get to your feet, both the thugs and the chits are gone. That's unfortunate. Alright, we're going to go back home. That's no good. So yeah, this is somewhat of a tough game. We're gonna end our cycle. It's unfortunate to lose condition this early, but you know, we'll figure it out. We're starving. This time you don't wake up. Instead of the ghost of the station, that shifting skeletal ring surrounds you. For a moment you are gone, absent from your own body. Stretch out across a colorless void. Then the connections begin to establish themselves, threads tugging on the edge of your mind. Sip of water, sorry. These threads become vectors of exchange and then extensions, as you feel your thoughts slipping away down them, dissolving into the millions of disturbed nodes they connect to. You see the station. No, you feel the station, like a web of texture in a smooth, black liquid. I'd like to touch it. You find a point in the station, and you connect to it, pulse through it, follow loops and paths under and around it. You touch more points than you have fingers, and then you try, in a moment of impulsiveness, to connect to them. The flow passes through you so rapidly that you feel yourself being carried with it. Splitting and separating, eddying and gathering. As you do, things occur to you, things that you can't possibly know. You reach out, try to grasp them, try to touch them too. You notice a tugging feeling pulling at you, insistently as if it were a small child. Somehow it is pulling in two directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts off. You come back trembling into this unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours, all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open to the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you. A shift. You close your eyes for a second, and you feel it waiting there. The station splayed out across your mind, a storm of connective nodes, waiting to be explored. And then, it is gone. We need to sunbathe, and we need to sunbathe fast. Negative outcome. You take a few moments in the sun to boost your energy, but get restless quickly. We're going to do it one more time. We're just going to save the 5. Another negative outcome. That's unfortunate, but we're not starving anymore, so that's good. Cycle clocks are moving forward. I think we could take a break from Dragos' yard. I would rather have a positive outcome up here. Oh, we can't do it anymore. That's right. All right, let's try it. Minus energy? Dang, the loss of the crowd. You struggle to keep a sense of direction. You sit in an alley exhausted with no idea where to go. We're not doing well down there. Let's see if we have anything to do here. We can assist a shipbuilder, or we can haul materials over here. That might be worth something. But we don't have anything to do. We're going to have to end our cycle. We're going to be starving again, unfortunately. Again, the skeletal ring of the station fills your mind. It sparkles with glittering eyes, like stars reflected in a winter lake. It is clearer, crisper than before. The threads still pull, but you remain in place, flickering in the flow. Between the threads, you see bright shapes, caches of shimmering light beneath transparent crystal forms. You follow the path of thread across the ring, through these forms, then leap off into the world, into the void. You begin to understand. These are nodes and connections, a map of information, of communication. There are so many layers, so many loops that it seems almost impossible to parse. You begin to try. Let's focus on the nodes. The nodes are glassy, bright, but in all this flow, the only solid and fixed points. You approach one, a pyramid or a triangle, dimensions are difficult here, and lean close to it. Inside, shifting layers conceal a tangle of threads, a meeting point of exchange. But before you can glimpse any further, the glass clouds and hardens, cutting you off. The threads and nodes, passage and puzzle boxes, one leads to another. There is so much here, so many answers, so many questions. All you need to do is follow the paths and open the boxes. You look out across the ghost landscape of exchange and see an opportunity. But then, that insistent tugging again, pulling at you. You look down and see 2 lines, 2 threads pulling in different directions as if they were tied around you. Let's do the first. The first thread leads out, away from the station into the inky black, someone out there is tracking you, hunting you, following the thread to you. They are in a ship, and the ship is approaching ever closer with each cycle. The second thread leads in, pulling deep into the station. Your gaze follows it, and this time you see something, a sphere shimmering above a strange angular body. A pulse shoots out from it, passing over you like a torch beam, testing you, tasting you. You open your eyes. Time is short. Hunted. Someone out there is tracking you, following your trail. It won't be long before they arrive. We definitely need to do some sunbathing. I would love a positive. Something has changed inside you. You can now access the data cloud of the eye, a network of decaying protocols and data caches. While there, you can use dice and items to access systems and extract data. But be careful, these networks are old and strange. Click the I button at the top of the screen to toggle this view on and off. Okay. We got more energy. That's enough for us to survive today. Here's what we're gonna do. We're going to... I mean, we gotta try again. There we go. We got a local knowledge. That's good. Let's look at our operator as well. I wonder how we get upgrade points. Let's look here. Wait, where are we? How'd we find the doctor? Just by looking in here? Next comes the call from the enforcer at the door. You shuffle down the flickering hallway towards the open apartment door. You keep your head down and your shoulders high in the queue, trying not to bring attention to yourself. You were thankful for the tip-off that a doctor was operating out of this place, but now that you are here, you aren't so sure. The gang enforcer on the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying hab block, they have all made the long queue a test of your nerve, but your options are few, and without a supply of stabilizer, this body, your body, will... You suppress a shiver and shuffle forward to the front of the queue. You try to find something to distract yourself. The enforcer's looking down the corridor and you dare glance at him. His purpose is unmistakable. He's there to intimidate, to threaten, and if necessary, carry out those threats. His broad shoulders are framed with a metal exoskeleton. A couple of mirror-like implants sit below his eyes like mercury teardrops. Subsidiary sense input or aesthetic markers, you aren't sure. You also aren't familiar with the geometric blade-like tattoo on his arm, but you make note of it. You avert your eyes when he looks back at the queue. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway and you catch a distant voice. Send the next one in, Toshiro. The enforcer jerks his head and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting on the far door. The room beyond is bathed in warm light. A floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gives a full view of the bright market's sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above, and for a moment, you are transfixed by the motion. Come sit, calls a sharp voice. Come, sit, calls a sharp voice, and you see a silhouetted figure turned away. Replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed, you make your way across the room. Is this Sabine? The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak, they blink, and then quickly regain their composure. Please, sit. They gesture to the bed, then turn to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns, a compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. Remain still, please. Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from the expression when you first entered. Fear, recognition, sadness, unmistakably etched across their face. How long have you been on the station? They ask, the scanner still to their eye. A few cycles. They nod. It's good you came to me. They set the diagnostic scanner on the table. I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything. They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. Your body is dying. They say it without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. Your body is dying. SN-ARP doesn't like to see its proprietary technology let loose to prevent bodies like yours, frames as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or in your case, escaping. They built in a process of so-called planned obsolescence. Frames decay rapidly when not regularly injected with stabilizer, one which SNARP remains the sole producer of. They look up. Sound familiar? Yes. Good. That may help. They swap to your other arm. Running some thin metal device over your skin, you feel your forearm tremble. I'm sorry, Sabine says, and you are unsure if they meant for the cold touch of the metal or everything else. It could be both. Emulations like you, sleepers as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights, no status. They focus hard on the inspection of your arm, and SNARP has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but they stop themselves. I know little of this is of use to you. They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something. Anything. More water? Sabine turns to face you. I may be able to help. They sigh, and you see the darkness under their eyes, hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. You saw Toshiro outside? You nod. He works for my benefactor, Yatagon. They are influential in the low end. They give me this space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, sew up their wounds. They look away. But Yatagan has connections. Smugglers from the Starward Belt, mercenaries working for the corporations on Ember. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down their slate, their notes complete. This is dangerous, and it'll be expensive, but I think we can do it. Why help me? Sabine walks away to the window, their face dappled by the shadows of passing drones. Let's just see if this works first. I'll let you know when I have a lead. You nod and leave, Sabine still staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof to see if you can see their face, but the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crowd. Alright, so we have another cycle... Yeah, another cycle clock here. Lots of stuff to do. We should probably try to do some work. My dog is very excited right now. Let me see what she wants. Alright. So, we're just gonna try to manually salvage right now. 75% worth. We're just trying to get back in business. Positive outcome. +2 to back in business, and we get money. That's awesome. Alright, let's go rest. How many cycles do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cycles. I guess we'll end our cycle. We're still fading, which is definitely not good, but I think we'll still have 3. Yeah. Alright. Let's do some sunbathing. Hopefully we get 2 off 1. We'll use the other one then. We have a 5 here. Okay, there we go. So, as you close up, a voice echoes down the corridor towards you. Sleeper, wait up. Fang is coming down the corridor towards you, a wonky grin on his broad face. Hey, glad I caught you. Do I know you? He grins. You do now. He puts a hand on your arm. Excuse me. I've seen you hanging around, just wanted to chat. You staying in that thing? He nods back to the container, shaking his head. Rough. It can be hard to get back to the start of Rough. It can be hard to get a start on the eye. He looks away down the passage. What was it old Erland said? The eye opens for us all. Nice idea, but, well, not always very practical. He glances back at you. We do our best, but it isn't easy. We? You pass together into the main walkway. Havenage, we are all one dysfunctional family. Fang puts up an arm around you. I'm not part of the security branch, though. Don't worry. I'm with Systems. Systems? Everything the eye runs on. He runs a hand along the passage wall. This place is a ruin, but System keeps it spinning somehow. At least we try to. He stops you in the quiet passage. Look, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I saw you around, and, well, I know a little about you sleepers. I have a little proposition for you. He glances around. But this is not the place for it. I have an office just across the way. Give me a cycle or 2 to prepare, then, when you're resettled, stop by. He lowers his voice and gives you a dark look. In truth, I need you. If what they say is true about you sleepers, well, there's work to be done. He pats you on the back, his voice bright and his dark look suddenly gone. Stay clean, sleeper. He walks down the passage, raising a hand in farewell. Okay. We have a lot of clocks to pay attention to right now. Nothing down here. Let's look with our eye. Oh, we need HA data. This gate keeps traffic out of the Havented Shipyard's internal network. The correct cipher can grant you access. We have a key node. What do key nodes do? Access protocols. Data actions allow you to extract data from the networks of the eye. They work like dice actions, but in order to unlock them, you must match your dice to the one displayed on the right of the action. If you have a +1 or +2 modifier in the interface skill, you will be given more possible dice to match. You can use any dice that matches the dice displayed. Once unlocked, the data can be extracted. Interesting. Let's see if we have any 5s. A 1. We have a 2. We have data. We need a Solheim cipher. We have a keynote here with a 3. We have a Havened's agent here with a 2. A 1. We have a Yatagan agent here with a 1. And that's it. Okay, so we can't do any of that right now. So I think what we'll do is we're just going to try... Okay, in one turn, we get the B2 over here. We're going to go ahead and do Dragos' Yard one more time. We have a 5 here. We have an Endure +1. 100% positive. Let's do it. It's heavy going, but the hard work helps you forget your worries. Before long, you have cleared a large portion of the yard. We got more money, and we got 2 more back in businesses. That's awesome. Alright, we gotta go home. We got another cycle, so we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more cycles. Luckily, we have enough energy to where we probably only need to sunbathe once tomorrow. The problem is we only have 2 dice left. So let's sunbathe. Oh, we got the neutral outcome. That's really nice, actually. Alright, what are we going to do here? Let's think about it. We can go talk to Fang. The scavengers are here for 3 cycles. We're waiting on the doctor. I mean, we have a 4 here. We really need some more Intuit if we can. You know what we're going to do? Let's try to finish out Dragos' Yard. I feel like that's important to me. Back in business. Alright. Now we can talk to Dragos again. You arrive into a buzz of activity at the yard. Red blinking lights flash across a vast dark shape suspended below the dome. They flicker across scorched hull plates and bent structures, spilling from holes in the twisted shape. The cutter is huge, and has been torn apart in some violent encounter. She's a beauty, ain't she? Dragos stands to the side, focused on the hulking ship as it lowers into the yard. What is it? Dragos laughs. That, my friend, is A-grade scrap. I should thank you. This place was on its last legs when you turned up, and now look at this. The ship descends slowly, its interior visible through multiple hull breaches. You struggle to gather up the same enthusiasm as Dragos for this monster's craft. You can't help but think of what became of its crew. Believe it or not, I managed to convince our salvager friends to give it to me on credit. He glances at you. The ship creaks like a calving iceberg as it reaches the base of the yard. Dragos is visibly excited. I know I said you shouldn't stick around, but I'm going to need some help with this one. The drones start to crawl over the hulk. There are lights illuminating flashes of dented hull. Watching you wonder if you arrive in a similar fashion, locked inside that container, the wreck of the S&R freighter lowered into the yard like a corpse ready to be butchered. Or was that container delivered to Dragos on its own, a womb for your rebirth into this strange station? You shudder. Perhaps if you could learn something about this ship, you might be able to trace the path that led you to this yard. Dragos squeezes your shoulder. Well, after these past cycles, I think we're up to it. What do you think? You see the fading name of the ship emblazoned on its side. Winter Light. Let's do it. He claps you on the back. Glad to hear it. Come back in a few and we can make a start. A real beauty, Dragos repeats, perhaps just to himself. You take one last look at the shattered ship as the drones start cutting, and then slip out of the yard, feeling suddenly cold in the empty passage. We got an upgrade point, and we got a new drive. Wait for Sabine to acquire. You've completed your first drive. Each drive completed unlocks an upgrade point to spend on upgrading your character. Access your character menu via the arrow button at the top right of the screen. Oh, that was just the end. Okay. I think we need to get out of the Intuit jail. Or we could take hard to kill right away. Or maybe we go after self-repair. Holy crap, that's big. Let's get rid of our -1. That feels important. We can go talk to Feng. We're still declining, though. That's really unfortunate. Let's talk to Feng. Sleeper. Feng catches your attention as you approach the Havenage building, leaning against a bay door at the side of the entrance. You approach. Easier to come in this way. Security, all that. He gives you a look. You know. He slams a button and the bay creaks open, blinking lights in the dark behind it. You follow Feng inside. Truth be told, I don't spend much time upstairs. This is where I work. The door hisses and it closes behind you. The bay is filled with pieces of hardware, all rigged up to generators and diagnostic slates and things you don't recognize that glow with blue screen light. There's a chorus of hums that blends into the single wave of static, filling the dark corners of the room. Feng leans on a server stack and gestures around. You like it? It's incredible. He smiles wildly. I thought you'd say that. He taps a nearby server stack, which bleeps in response. This is my treasure trove, all dredged up from the sea of systems we call the Eye. You wouldn't believe that what this place runs on. He steps over to a towering block speckled with vents. Some of these systems are built from the original station. AE1? That's a Greek letter. I don't know which Greek letter that is. The one Solheim built. We've had to invent new components, repair things we've never built, reverse engineer entire subsystems into existence. Residents here look up at the Eye and think they really are seeing a concrete reality, but this place is a system in constant flux, decaying and growing, collapsing into new configurations. He walks down between the hardware stacks and you follow. We are keeping this place alive, but also we're making it into something new, dragging it away from those corporate origins. He stops. At least that's what I'm trying to do. He turns back to face you among the flickering machines humming all around you. I know you can see this too, Sleeper. All these systems and sections. You can, can't you? I can see it. It makes sense, right? You are between here and there, between the people and their systems. You light this place up like a beacon. That's what I need. You glance at the lights around you, and as you do, they seem to flicker, to realign, to follow your gaze. Feng notices it too. I'm guessing being a beacon isn't always ideal when you're on the run, though. They're tracking me. He pats you on the shoulder. Maybe I can help with that. There's a lot of old growth in this place, subsystems I can't see, access protocols lost to time and decay, secrets. A shitload of secrets. With your help, I can unlock this place, break off those last ghost limbs of corporate control. He lowers his voice below the hum. Even in Havenage, there's old growth. Those whose roots trace back to those bad old days. You help me dredge up the past, and I'll see what I can do about that tracker of yours. He winks. What do you say, Sleeper? I'm in. Feng pumps up his fist and claps you on the shoulder. He meets your eye. You won't regret it, Sleeper. Feng passes you a ragged-looking metal tab. A gift, he smiles. It's a Solheim cipher. I dug it up from the depths of the station. Slot that into an old network gate, and you'll be able to pull out all kinds of secrets from the nodes inside. He walks by you back to the front of the bay. Start by bringing me whatever you can turn up. Use that emulated mind of yours and see what's out there. Let's get a picture of how things are. Those above, he nods at the ceiling, have granted me an acquisitions budget. I can pay you whatever useful data you bring in. I know you need it. He slams the button door again. Keep it quiet and keep it clean, Sleeper, and I'll see you soon. You step blinking back out into the passage, those flickering lights still in the back of your mind. Alright, we have a new drive. What are our drives right now? We can go ahead and extract the past. Oh, we need this, we need the, Havenage one. So we need to open up this gate. We have a Solheim cipher, don't we? Oh yeah, we do right there. Well, there we go. Let's do it. We got gate S7 access. Alright, we have some Solheim nodes. We need a 4. We need a 1. And we need a 2. 4, 1, and 2. We'll keep those in mind. Right now we gotta go home. So luckily we have enough food, but we still only have 2 dice right now, which is pretty rough. One, 2, 3, 4, 5 left before we're hunted. Have we not been to the Rotunda yet? Study the winter light. Survive. Sabine should have stabilizer for us. Let's check. The first thing you see on entering is the glint of Toshiro's implants. Like a cat's eyes in the dark of the corridor, he nods you in as you arrive at Sabine's door. The entryway is still dark and you push through the sheeting into the surgery. I have it. Sabine stands with a case open in front of them, a set of vials lined up inside, separated by foam inserts. They pick one up, rotating it in the warm light. I have no idea how Yatagan. They trail off. We should treat this with caution. It looks authentic, but I have no idea if it really is what it appears to be. I'm the test case? That seems to be the case. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we have another choice. They gesture for you to sit on the bed. The stabilizer works under a similar principle to an immunosuppressant in a transplant operation, in that it stops your body from rejecting the unfamiliar part of itself. In the case of your frame, the unfamiliar part is each of your biosynthetic organ groups, which over time are identified by your body as foreign material and therefore must be eliminated. Sabine holds up a vial of the would-be stabilizer. However, unlike a immunosuppressant, the stabilizer doesn't do this by limiting your entire immune system. Instead, it re-encodes your biosynthetic organs with new protein chains, which act as passcodes with your immune system. The stabilizer refreshes those passcodes, keeping your frame from rejecting all of its own organs. Passcodes? In very basic terms, yes. They sigh. Look, what matters is here that the stabilizer should be able to encode any organic or biosynthetic matter to be accepted by your immune system. They glance away. At least if the stabilizer is genuine, the only way to know for sure is to inject the vial. Small dose, limit the risk. Okay. Sabine cracks the glass neck of the stabilizer vial and uses a syringe to extract a fraction of the liquid. They tap the syringe and you watch as if any sign might emerge from the clear liquid. You barely feel the needle, your frame registering the initial injection, but with little response. A sensation begins to spread from the site, a fizzing, trembling wave that disperses through your arm and with incredible speed. Your vision goes white, and when it returns, Sabine appears encased in shards of sparkling light that slowly fade into the darkness as you settle back against the bed. You swim in darkness, muffled noises, like an argument heard from underwater, prickling waves of cold. When you step back up, Sabine is sitting in a chair by the window, facing away from you, backlit by the glow of their slate. Awake? What happened? The stabilizer is genuine. They sit down beside the bed. I don't know how Yatagan acquired a case of this stuff, but they did. Sabine looks troubled, distracted. You should rest some more, but you are going to have to do that somewhere else. They gesture to the door. I have other patients. Sorry. Sabine nods towards the case. I'm afraid I can't offer you any more doses. You're going to need to pay for your next dose. Silence fills the room, and they return to their glowing slate. Looking around the room, it seems different somehow, as if things have moved or shifted. You wonder how long you've been out. Sabine? Nothing comes free, sleeper. Remember that. You manage to get to your feet and wander out the hallway. The queue stretches down the flickering corridor. Toshiro stands impatiently by the door and fixes with a glare as you leave. You lower your eyes as you stumble past, somehow faintly aware of the station spinning beneath you. How much is a stabilizer? 100? Oh my goodness. Damn, that's a lot. Here's what we need to do. Which node had a 1? This node. We're gonna do that. We got the Solheim data. So what do we do with the Solheim data? Another key node. That's a 3. What is this log? I think Solheim data gets us credits, right? This one's a 4. This one's a 2. Every Solheim data will pay. Okay, cool. I do have a Solheim data. There we go. How much does he pay us? 15. That's not bad. We need to get paid elsewhere, though. I think we're going to go here. We can buy stuff. I think we need to help. Paying a wage is very important for us. 15 cryo. Okay, we're at 75. We're getting close. We need to go to sleep, though. We don't have very many more cycles. It's going to be difficult if we keep going. Oh, we're stable because of the stabilizer. That's right. Let's go ahead and do... Hold on, real quick. I'm pretty sure I needed a 4 for one of the Solheim things. No, but I needed a 2. We'll do that. Alright. We'll extract the data. Love that. As you drift back from the node, something latches onto you. A thread, strung tight around you, it tethers you in place. A taste. The voice makes you shiver. Its source somehow both distant and close behind your ear. It's the cloud. You see a distant glint of light shut off, and then suddenly a shape at your side. It stalks around you, encircling like a shark, like a wolf. Entity unknown, astringent, processing. Let's resist. You struggle against the thread, and it tightens in response to glittering gyro. Please hold. A thread around you thickens until it is a ring, a cylinder. As it fades, you see a figure, a creature in front of you. A strange head flickers between different angles, reading you. What did you do? Entity, identify, origin, serial, cadence. The shape paces around you on the lithe legs, though there is no ground here to pace on. E-I-O-S-C. The figure faces you expectantly. Sleeper, Essenarp. Unknown, known. The figure's strange head rotates. Brackish signature, of and not of, attempting interface. As the figure speaks more, threads begin to spiral from its head, thick, snaking, vine-like ribbons that flex and wave. They approach with intent. I'm running. You kick off and glide away through the cloud, threads surging after like predatory tentacles. They follow, wrapping the space around you until you are held within a web, a tangle of tentacles, closing in. Stop. Hunter halts its threads, its head twitching. Entity, your identity is unknown. We only seek to correct illegalities. Can you confirm your legal right to sentience? I'm a person. Incorrect, you are an entity. All at once, Hunter's head is directly in front of yours, blocking your vision. You stink of their taste. The one from the sealed dock. Hunter shimmers with a fury. I will find access. I will interface. Sealed dock? An entity hides in the rotunda. You are its puppet. I will not be diverted from my task. It glows with murderous intent. I'm going to strike. You lash out with all your force. Not a physical strike, but a spike of interference leaping out like the tip of a spear. Hunter stumbles, shifts, separates. I'm going to wake up. You open your eyes, blinking back into the station light, shaking with fear. So Hunter is watching. We do have a 4. Let's get this thing. I think that's all the Solheims, right? let's go turn these in. Collect our money. So I think this is going to be enough. Yeah, this is going to be enough money for us to hopefully afford some more stabilizer. We don't need to use it yet, though. Alright, let's talk to Feng. As you enter the bay, Feng is nowhere to be seen. The banks of servers and machines blink out of the dark in staccato rhythms, unseeing eyes of the station's digital ghosts. Shitheads. Feng's voice echoes from behind a stack, followed by the hammer of a fist on a metal casing. Those snaky shitheads. Who's snaky? Sleeper. Feng's smiling head pops out from behind a stack. Just the emulated consciousness I've been eager to see. Come back here. You pick your way between the thrumming stacks, trying not to trip on the loose bundles of cable that blanket the dark floor. Feng is sat in front of a set of monitors mounted to a stack. Tell me, Sleeper, what do you see here? Feng waves at a monitor to his side, glowing with pale lists of information. You lean in closer, looking for the links in the data. The tables seem to be filled with personal information, names, gender, states, ID numbers, all the markers of institutional records. Shitheads? Feng laughs. Maybe not all of them, but what kind of shitheads? Havenage. Huh, not quite. He taps at the terminal. I pulled these from the old data you brought in, all employees of the Eye's original owners, Solheim, but... He leans past you and scrolls the list down. This is a snaky shithead. He stabs at the screen with a finger. The name reads, Hardin Hurst. Who's Hardin? That, says Feng, giving you a sideways look, is the thing. He drags a stool out beside him and motions for you to sit. There just so happens to be a Hardin Hurst in Havenage. He waits for your reaction. Are you sure? Well, that's where you might be able to help me. Just think about it. Decades ago, Hardin worked at this station as a... Feng leans across and looks at the monitor. Senior Strategic Operations Executive. Feng raises his eyebrows at you. Our Hardin was keeping the money coming in for Solheim. He defined priority growth initiatives by making sure the extractors they contracted out were hooked into a system that outsourced all the risk and kept the profit. Good old Hardin shuttled thousands of Palladium Rush workers into an infrastructure which meant that their cut of the work they did went straight back to Solheim. How do you know this? I grew up here, Sleeper. This is my history. I am a child of the collapse. Feng turns back to his screen, staring hard at the strings of code flicking by. Before I was born, my parents were Solheim contractors. They ate in Solheim canteens, worked on Solheim ships. They breathed the Solheim air and slept in Solheim beds. Feng's voice rises as he speaks, his hands fists on the terminal's edge. And the work that paid for that existence, the cycles of hard extraction out in the belt, Solheim took their cut. This was a company town, so to speak, and my parents were just another in the long line of freelance contractors willing to risk their lives for a shot at anything other than poverty. Disposable. This guy, stabbing at Hardin once again with his finger, strategized all that, did the sums, and then somehow, thousands and thousands of cycles later, is still going, still here, crawling in the walls like some shithead snake. He survived the revolution. But how? Those guys, they were big time. There's a lot of money it can get you if you're a company man. Feng relaxes a little. But how is Hardin still kicking? I really don't know. He turns to you and smiles. So we are going to find out. Hardin is now a big shot in the shipyards, just a few degrees back from the Eye from here. Feng brings up a map at the lower Eye. Havenage might be born out of Erland's revolutionary zeal, but a flat hierarchy is not. Hardin happened to float up to the top. Feng zooms in on the far yards. Feng grimaces. The thing is, I don't have access to those systems. Those shipyard crew is pretty paranoid that they don't like anyone from systems digging around in their stuff. Plus, we need more than just the name of a Solheim executive. We need proof. Feng opens up a thumbnail-sized drive. That's where this little creation of mine comes in. I call it Ripperworm. He turns the drive between his fingers. It'll rip through any digital storage and spin out a silken thread of filtered data. This one is the set on the scent of Hardin Hurst. He hands it over. Getting into the compound might be tricky, Feng puts a hand on your shoulder, but you, however, have a particular knack for remote access. If you can extract yourself a Havenage cipher from a Havenage agent, they sometimes carry them among their data caches, you can grab open the compound's network and slot the worm in through any open port. You never even need to go near the shipyards. So what do you say? Yes. I knew it, and I knew you'd be happy to catch this snake, and don't worry, once we nail this guy, I'll start work on that tracker of yours. I haven't forgotten. Feng scratches at his chin. Anything the worm gets, it'll send back here to me. There's something wrong here, and I aim to get to the rotten core of it. You leave Feng digging through data among the wires and machines of the old station. As you walk out, you try to imagine the Eye as it once was. A vast machine running smooth and strong, directed by people like Hardin. A vast Solheim-built machine into which thousands poured from the surrogate systems, looking for a new life. The hope of a better future engineered to line someone else's pockets. It's an idea you are intimately familiar with. You think of Hardin, still alive, still part of this place, and wonder if the past is ever truly past. Interesting. Alright, we are starving, so we're going to save one of our dice here. But what we are going to do is, let's look at that Havenage. I remember seeing him. That's the Yadigan agent. Where's the Havenage agent? There we go. They need a 2. So if we end up with a 2 at any point, that's where that 2 is going. Let's help out with the yard. I would like to do one of this. Oh, we got a scrap. What else did we get? You discover a hidden compartment with spare components and backup data. This has to contain something of use. We got scraps. Neutral outcome. So we got plus to the winter light. I'd like to discover the full history, so I think we're going to keep doing that. I completely forgot to eat. SMH, my H. I forgot I wanted to eat. I got distracted. That's totally my fault. We're just going to have to end our cycle and sunbathe next turn. So sadly, we're going to lose out on 2 instead of 1. Looks like we're having another dream, though. No, we're not. All right, we're going to do a 4 on Endure. No, we're not. Oh, we got our 2. We're going to use the 1 on this because even a negative outcome is just +1 food. Yeah. We're going to use the 3 down here as well. We got a neutral, that's +2 energy. Perfect. Okay. Let's get to that Yadigan agent. Where is it? Not Yadigan, the other one. The Havenage agent. Alright, hopefully the hunter doesn't bother us. We got our Havenage data. So now we just need to use the Ripper Worm, right? There we go. So we're gonna go... What are we waiting on here? Bang's Ripper Worm is installed, but it'll take a few cycles to run. We're cutting it close here. We got one more cycle for that. I think we're just waiting here, yeah. 4 more cycles. We're gonna go to the market. Since we have a 5 here, I would like to try to get a positive action. Got the positive. We finally figured out the market. That's awesome. We have the Ort Exchange. We can play the exchange or we can sell components. I think we're going to hold off right now. We also have Emphis. Emphis is busy, his broad face lit by the makeshift gas burner in front of him. With precise, delicate movements, he lays thick chunks of marinated fungus into a dented wok, his other hand idly tossing a metal bowl of sliced vegetables and some red-flecked dressing. The smell is incredible. You watch as he fulfills a set of orders, heaping the fungus with the bright salad and depositing it in plastic trays. A stack of chits rattles in his apron pocket as customers file past the burners, handing over payment. You join the queue. It's mostly made up of off-duty salvagers, vac suits unzipped and rolled down to expose stained vests. Grubby mods, a lattice of scar and tattoos. They discuss the best food on the eye, the best drink, comparing notes on bright markets dives. Their words cut through with heavy spacer slang. Eventually it's your turn, and as you shuffle into the front, Enfys speaks in a deep, even tone without looking up. First try is free. Thank you. The smell is almost unbearably strong as he cooks, the earthiness of the fungus laced with something so spicy the smoke makes your eyes water. The heat from the burner is like a bonfire and your skin hardens in its glare. I know you sleepers, Enfys says while he cooks, his voice deep but clear. A hard life, a lot of stories. He glances up from beneath his cap with piercing eyes. I know. Tell him a story. You begin to tell him about your journey to the eye, and he nods as he cooks, his eyes never leaving his work. You tell him of the confusion, the pain, but also the sense of possibility, and its sudden arrival. You tell him of the cold and dark of the container and the endless cycles spent within it. Now it seems, you tell him, like some dream that you once had but can never forget. You tell him that the eye excites you and scares you, and you are unsure where to walk, where to look, what to do. Eventually, you tail off, running out of words. He places a plastic tray of steaming fungus in your hand. Next time we can talk some more, he smiles. But next time, you pay. He slams a heavy hand against a button on the burner side and it shuts off. The roars of the flame and its impressive heat fades. Next time, then, sleeper. He waves you away and begins to oil the walk. Before you turn back to the alley, you notice the geometric patterns of a circular scars across his forearms, each surrounding a constellation of glinting pin marks. Interesting. You walk away, and as you do, you take a bite of the rich, spicy, delicately sweet fungus. Your taste sensors light up like a fusion reactor. You'll be back. Hey, full food, and we got a new drive. I want to get to know Enfys. 15 credits. So we have to pay to get to know Enfys. We slaughtered the Ripper Worm. I wish we had more time to do that, though. Okay, so I do have to sell to the Ord Exchange. So we're going to do that. So we get one for that. We could play the exchange. Let's try it. Plus 19 cryo and plus 2 trusted trader. Okay, so we want to do that. That's understandable. We're gonna go to sleep, and then we're probably going to work on the yard tomorrow. Interesting. We're flickering now. So we only have 4 dice. Pretty low, so we should do stuff that is easy for us. Merchant freighter. We cannot do that. We can buy a ship mine fragment. How many fragments do I need, though? 60 credits. I mean, we can afford that. We could buy one more. I don't know, we'll figure it out. We need to go to Dragos' yard. Let's give it a try. Let's try one more time. Damn. Alright, we're gonna do cutter salvage then. Yard clearance and 16 cryo. Okay, so we're still trying to understand this, so we're gonna hope for some better dice next turn. I think what we can do with our last piece here... We haven't even checked out the shipyard yet. Maybe we do some material hauling? We just lost condition. That's unfortunate. Alright, How much money do we have? 92? Man, I don't know if we're gonna have enough time before we run out. We're gonna have to eat, for sure. Do we go in here with a 4? Let's try going in here with a 4. Alright, one more day for the rip, one more day for that. I mean, we gotta try. Damn, dude. Getting really unlucky with that. Let's look on here. We have the Havenage port. We have the keynote. We still have this Havenage data. We could do this. Might as well figure out what it is. We got an encrypted key. A stream of passcodes able to unlock the station's aging mag locks. So that's what those are. We have a Havenage agent here. Another Havenage agent here. Keynode. 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 Okay. We could buy another ship mine fragment. I'm gonna try it. Wow, we pulled it off. That's awesome. We have a stranded mercenary. We have a sealed dock. I have a key. Oh, I need 2 keys. Let's unlock the other one, too. I'm pretty sure I have another 2 key here. Hold on, where was it? It was back here. Is that a 2? That's a 1. I thought I had a 2 somewhere around here. Maybe it was this one. No, that's a 1. So I have 2 1s and a 2? Or, sorry, 2 1s and a 3. Okay, I'll remember that for next time. Let's go talk to this person. Hey, you! Wanna earn a chit? Akita stands behind a huge pile of tied-together hull plates. She stretches out her back and shoulders bulging beneath her flight suit. Sure. You cross the docking concourse as she begins to split the plating into 2 bundles. What is it with this place, she asks as she lashes out massive plates together. Everyone wants their cut. She straightens up to an imposing height, her armor plates creaking, and looks at you up and down. Don't try anything, alright? She taps the butt of their sidearm. I don't want to have to put anyone else down today. Anyone else? She shrugs. What can I say? My temper's a little short lately. Ankita hoists 1 bundle of plating onto her shoulder. Come on then, chit. Enough chat. You've got to earn that chit. You struggle to shoulder the plates, but you do eventually. Ankita gives you a look. Ship's this way, and she sets off down a gantry at impressive speed. As you catch up to her, she turns down a passage, pushing through a small crowd of stevedores. Why are you doing this yourself? You mean, why aren't I hiring these good folk? She nods back at the stevedores. I've paid Havenage enough. They are currently rinsing me for a mooring I can't vacate unless I either fix the ambergrease or sell it off as scrap. What's wrong with it? It. Ankita looks at you pointedly. Her. She rapidly turns another corner as you trail behind. She got cut up pretty bad on our last job, and I had to moor up here for a spell, but since then it's only gotten worse. Someone got in and sliced the core from our ship mine, so now she's gone dark. She shifts the panel on her shoulder. The upshot is that I'm short 1 ship mine with a ton of repairs to do, and the rest of the crew signed off the moment they got wind I'd be stranded. So yeah, it's been a time. Anything I can do to help? I don't know. Got a ship mine tucked away on that frame of yours? For a moment, you aren't sure if she's serious. Ankita swings the plates from her back, almost knocking you over in the process. This is me. She hauls the second bundle off your shoulder. You're the first person I've met here who might actually be considered helpful. She pauses, chewing her bottom lip. Look, you want to help? Come see me. I need a hand putting Amber back together, and you don't seem like the type to try anything stupid. She passes the bundles of plate. What do I have here? I have ship mine fragments. Just don't go spreading all this around. Consider it a bonus for not trying to grift me. She gives you a parting nod and ducks through the doorway. All right, get out of here, she calls back and slams the lock shut. We have a new drive. Build a ship mine. You've heard talk of the fabricator owned by the Ort Exchange. With that and a few fragments, you could build a ship mine core. Fix the ambergrease. Alright, what do I do here? I cannot rewire drones, but I can try repairs. I don't think I want to use my 2 on that. I think I'd rather talk to people here. I can buy rations. I can get a drink. Let's try to become a regular. Nice. We got an energy, too. I think we're also going to... Let's get some more food from Memphis. Plus energy and plus fungus fan. Okay, so we get 3 energy for that, so that's good. That's good to know. We don't have enough to afford the surge, thing yet. I should have saved for it, but I'm okay waiting a little bit. We're still waiting a turn on extract the past. Maybe we just go to the shipyard? Yeah, we got a neutral. Plus 1 yard hand. Do we get money for that? We don't get any money for that. That's annoying. Alright, let's go home. I'm really worried about this timer, but there's not much we can do. Hold it there, sleeper. Comes a voice from behind you. Don't you run. Run. A strike across your back knocks your face down onto the floor. I told you not to run, idiot. Ethan pulls you up. He's wearing a wide smirk and a slick jacket, and you immediately know he's terrible news. You got all that way out here and then stayed put? He laughs a cruel laugh. That a sleeper thing? You're my first. So he must be the guy who is coming after me, a cynical bounty hunter. You barely hear him. You've noticed the handgun he has leveled at your chest, and it's hard to take your eyes off it. He reaches down with his other hand and slips some kind of ring out from a belt loop without taking his eye off you. Making it to the eye, though, that's pretty good. This place isn't so bad. Bars, markets, people. I pull most of my contracts out of asteroid caves or off of godforsaken moons. He splits the ring into 2 perfect circles. It's hard to hit civilization when there's so much space to pass through. He reaches over to slide the rings around your wrist. Go easy. You see a chance the moment his eyes leave you to watch the rings. You spin, knocking him away and sprinting down the corridor. Then the shot rings out, echoing off the metal so loud it hurts your ears. A bullet hole smokes in the wall beside your head. You freeze and Ethan closes the gap. This is a very boring routine. Trust me, I've seen it all before. He slips the rings over your trembling wrists. Ethan nudges you to start walking. To the ship and home, he whistles, going easy. You stumble down the corridor, your hands behind you, your mind racing. We can work this out. Can we? I don't see much in the way of assets in your possession. Ethan yawns and continues to nudge you down the corridor. Shame to come all the way out here just to head back to SNR right away. That tracker of yours makes this too quick. Was hoping you'd put up a bit more of a chase, you know? A running battle through the bright lower market maybe, or a holdout in the low end. There's a few establishments I would have enjoyed checking out while I asked around. You walk on in silence for a little longer, desperately trying to think of a way to escape. That SNR tracker will be the death of you. Hey, I have an idea. Ethan interrupts your thoughts. How about on the way back to the ship we'd stop for a drink? I'm buying. He laughs at his own joke. I have a better idea. This better not be one of those where you do a dramatic pause and then try to jump me, because I'm pretty tired of that. Although, I've got myself thinking, what's the rush here? Here we are in one of the most lawless joints of the surrogate systems, and we're heading for the exit. He pauses, and you trudge on in silence. Okay, here's the idea, starts Ethan. You and me, we make a little agreement. Here's the terms. He turns you to face him. You run, or leave, or try to abandon the eye, I shoot you. You plot or scheme, you try to kill me, I shoot you. But, he smiles, you come meet me at an establishment of my choice every few cycles and you pay my tab, I don't shoot you. He pauses. You don't pay my tab, he rattles his handgun. You get the idea. I get it. Okay then, that sounds to me like a deal. He stretches. You know, I really thought I was going to have to kill you, but this is so much better. He clicks something on his belt and the rings release from your wrists. I'm going to see if I can't find my own stool up at the compressor club. Come see me there. He aims the handgun at you, squinting down the sight. Let me just remind you, that body of yours is one big tracker, so don't even think about leaving the eye. I'll know. Ethan turns and strides off down the corridor, slipping his handgun away. The mix of relief and terror you feel is overwhelming. What are you going to do? Alright, we have a new drive. Dock B2, the freighter. So where is this? There it is. So every 4 cycles, I have to pay for his bar tab. So we're going to have to keep that in mind. Let's go to Feng first. As you arrive, Feng comes striding towards you, taking you by surprise. Let's go, Sleeper. He puts a hand on your shoulder and turns you back the way you came. Go where? To see Hardenhurst. He gives you a sideways glance. Isn't that what you're all here for? He steps in. Isn't that what you're here for? He steps down into the passageway, guiding you down ring towards the shipyard. Sorry for the hurry, but we have something of an opportunity. All right. That data you ripped, well done by the way. He grins. Tells me Harden is making a rare inspection of the sidereal horizon this cycle. It's the perfect chance to confront him outside of that compound he hides in. Feng takes a sharp turn into a dimly lit side passage. Sidereal horizon? Still catching up? That's the massive colony ship being built out of the shipyard, biggest commission Havenage has ever had. Feng slows and slips into a dark service tunnel where somewhere in the black, a water pipe drips. It's him, Sleeper, the same Hardenhurst. Our worm ripped out decades of records that mention him by name, an entire trail of documentation from the first days of the Solheim collapse until now. He wrote out the whole thing, slipped into Havenage when it first broke off from the Union. He paces in the tunnel, a hand rubbing at the back of his head. I need you to understand something about Solheim, Sleeper. I don't know what you know about the collapse, but it wasn't as this as it sounds. It wasn't like Solheim was here running the station one day and the next Erland's Union took power. Back then, Solheim knew this place was slipping away from them. As the palladium market collapsed, they tried to keep the contractors here working. The pay got smaller, the cost higher. People like my parents were forced to work non-stop just to keep a berth on the station and water in their tanks. Solheim squeezed every last worker until the mistakes, the accidents, were coming in non-stop. And as new waves of contractors came in, desperate to work, Solheim welcomed them, taking bribes instead of checking pilot licenses. The whole time Solheim was folding up, dragging into court cases in the central systems, while this severed limb of a station still desperately tried to take all it could. Wow. Holy crap. Oh, that's a lot of talking. The riots came after the collision of Dock 2A, young pilot, his MEV overloaded. Oh, at Dock 2. A young pilot, his MEV overloaded with palladium, miscalculated his trajectory and took out a section of the ring. Hundreds died. Thousands panicked. My parents told me people were terrified and the blame fell squarely on Solheim. People like to tell stories about Erland, how he brought the factions together, spoke to the crowds, turfed out Solheim. Maybe that's true, but my mother, pregnant with me, locked herself in their MAV and welded it to the dock while my father joined the improvised crews, trying to seal up the ragged edges of the gap. He never came back. Big paused in the dark. They sealed it up, though, and by the time they did, Solheim was gone, abandoning every one of us into the black. Apart. Feng finally turns back to you now, his eyes burning. From shits like Harden, shits who held their place, wrote it out, and slipped into the new structure like nothing had changed, standing shoulder to shoulder with those that had exploited every step. Feng starts walking again. That's why I can't just let him strut about the shipyard. This time, his past catches up with him. I'm just gonna let him do his thing. Feng rejoins the main passageway, which is now wide and glass-roofed. Through the ceiling, you can see ships in mid-construction, their flanks lit by flashes of plasma torches. The entrance to the shipyard is ahead. Let's go. Feng grins. Let's go show this shithead some consequences. He strides to the shipyard entrance and pushes through the doors. A web of corridors lead through the complex, snatches of the construction bays always appearing through windows. Ships are suspended like whale corpses, skeletal, imposing. Fing seems to know exactly where he is going, and before long you cross into a huge dry dock locked to one side of the sidereal horizon. A network of platforms and scaffolding cling to the ship's hull, filled with workers and equipment. The sound is stretched out by the vast space so that the welding, cutting, and sealing seems to come off from everywhere at once. Both you and Feng spot them at the same time, a group of walking slowly across the gantry, and at the front, two men, one gesturing towards the ship and the others stick-thin, cleanly dressed with a shock of gray hair. Hardin. You and Feng say his name in unison, and Feng sets up off the staircase to the gantry, with you following behind. As you come to the same level, the group is passing closer, the foreman gesturing to the work being done through the dock, and Hardin nodding along. Hardin Hurst! Feng shouts across the noise, taking you by surprise. His voice bounces and comes back in a rippling echo. The figure turns. Yes? Hardin asks quizzically. Raising an eyebrow, he glances between you and Feng, and you see his gaze linger on your body, unsure of why a sleeper might be in this place. You are a traitor, Hardin. A Solheim executive who tried to hide here among its victims. Feng's voice is steady, strong. You stand for everything the Eye was rebuilt in the shadow of, against everything Erlin stood for, everything Havenage stands for. You have no place on this station. For a moment, stillness descends on the group, as if everyone was held in place by the rattle of construction. Hardin laughs. Well, good to meet you too. He glances around at those around him. Some are smiling, the others nervous. You're from the system branch, are you not? Asks Hardin, inspecting Feng's clothing. Feng turns to the foreman. You need to call your security. This man is a corporate agent. The foreman glances between Feng and Hardin, his hands drumming at his sides. Hardin leans towards him and says something inaudible. The foreman nods. It's true. As you begin speaking, Hardin turns his attention to you. And what would a sleeper know about that? You accuse me of being a corporate agent. What are you if not exactly that? He looks around the group, who are already eyeing you with suspicion. You are a product of S&ARP. You have no place in a Havenage shipyard. Who knows what signals you're sending back to your makers? A murmur of approval runs through the group. I might have messed up, guys. Bing holds up a stick of memory. You guessed right. I am systems. And I have records that link you directly to Solheim right here. He turns to the foreman again. So once again, I'm asking you to take this man into the custody of the shipyard. The foreman remains still. Hardin's voice is calm, measured. If you have such data, why hasn't it been submitted at a members' meeting for proper review? He shakes his head. I have nothing to hide, unlike a man who does not announce his name, who enters my shipyard with corporate property in tow, and tries to turn my own men against me. You hear it now, the echoing sound of boots on walkways coming from all angles at once, and then settling behind you. Please, says Hardin, submit the data through the correct channels, and then we can talk. For now, however, you must leave. He gestures behind you to the security detail, their hand on boxy black sidearms at their sides. Oh, man. Feng spits. Hardin, you shithead. You can't wriggle out of this one. A security officer draws their weapon and levels it. Feng turns and stares him down. Calm down, buddy. You look at Feng, he shakes his head and puts a hand on your shoulder. Let's go, says Feng, and he pushes through the security, heading back down the walkway. Once security has walked you out of the shipyard and nudged you back into the corridor, Feng picks up pace. You try to keep up as he slips into the shadows of an entrance. Feng is grinning ear to ear. You know, Sleeper, sometimes people are exactly how you expect them to be. Something pings in his pocket and he takes it out. On the slate is a web of connections starts drawing itself out, stretching to a set of points around the ring. Got him, mutters Feng. What's going on? Hardin is doing what any sneaky shithead always does, calling his friends. We're tracking his outgoing messages. Feng's grin looks ghostly in the uplight of his screen. The old ways are best. Spook them good enough and they'll give the game away. Ooh, man, my man Feng's smart. He jabs at the slate and you see the web is being drawn over a map of the ring, lines bouncing from point to point. All these dots? These are Hardin's buddies. The ones he is messaging right now, and we are going to find them all. That was on purpose? Of course, Hardin isn't working alone. We need the full set or nothing. Feng glances around and slips the slate back to his pocket. We better split for now, Sleeper, but this is exactly what we need. Good hunting. With a pat on your shoulder, Feng drifts away back into the flow of people around the shipyard entrance. You watch him go, unsure whether to be angry or impressed. Alright, we got another wait. Oh, we got an upgrade point. Ever since you tripped to the shipyard, Feng has been missing from his bay. What's going on? 4 days to wait. We probably need to save our money so that we don't get murderified. We got, what, 4 days before this happens? We got an upgrade point. We'll use that real quick. I think we're going to go after Efficient Extractor. Chance to gain random scrap item on engineering actions. That feels like a good one. And then after that, we'll probably pick up Hard to Kill. Although we do have more stuff to do. We can fix the ambergris. No, let's go to the shipyard. I would like to use this 5 here to try to pull this off. Maybe even a 4. We got a neutral. I think we got to use the 5 here, or the 4 here. All right, all right. Maybe even the 3. I don't know. We're gonna try it. There we go. And we got a scrap item. Oh, another ship mine fragment. That's sick. No more salvage for now. Dragos and you need to talk. Squeeze into the office at the entrance to the yard. You lay out everything you have on the winter light across the metal desk. Your makeshift forensic notes glow on Dragos' old writing slate, overlapping lines and scrawled annotations. A set of drone scans fill the small terminal with a spectrum of colors, a heat map of damage and decay. A crumpled printout from the office's ship registry lies beside them. Synthetic paper so thin it's almost transparent. Let's look at my slate. Your attempts at reconstruction of the winter light before its fatal accident consists of a series of overlapping sketches and diagrams showing possible layouts and configurations of the gutted cutter. There was no off-the-shelf model. It was heavily modified, parts replaced with inventive configurations, the new retrofitted into the old, handmade joints and reconditioned filters. This was someone's pride and joy, a lifetime project kept running with care and intuition. It's also contained a set of hidden compartments. You missed them at first. Where the hull had been thickened, the corners rounded to disguise the change, but they are there. As a plain list shows the registration history of the Winter's Light, the gaps between the entries tantalizingly opaque. Its first registration was a couple of thousand cycles ago on this very station, logged at the central hub. From here, the ship registry tells the story of a busy ship, one that rarely stayed on station for more than a few cycles and often took on voyages that kept it away from the eye for up to 100 cycles. The Winter Light got little rest. Reactor failure. That is the verdict that anyone could have returned after a cursory glance at these stacked heat maps on the remains of the Winter Light. On the terminal screen, the ship is shown in section, blotches of color marking the approximate damage the ship sustained. Dominating the view is a single blood-red rose radiating from the ship's fraction drive. A simple story, a catastrophic failure of the drive core leading to a fatal hull breach. A well-documented failure, likely brought on by wear or misuse. But you aren't looking at the rose of the reactor, you're looking at a smaller, paler mark, one that might be easy to miss at first glance. It is thumbprint-sized and delicately placed over the control servos for the ship's main external airlock. It suggests a controlled, shaped explosion, one designed to punch through the hull and allow access to the airlock from the outside. You are looking at it because it's troubling you. An old ship, many cycles under its belt, carefully maintained, a reactor failure preceded by a carefully concealed external entry. A suite of hidden compartments tucked away. This was the Winter Light, and this was its story. But that's not the full story, because there's something else. It is a little more than a list, a tiny chunk of data you were able to pull from the ship's systems. The main systems were fried, of course, but the Winter Light had a separate system, one tucked away in one of its hidden compartments. Armored, air-walled. The list, the only recoverable piece from the whole system, is a partial inventory. It details the contents of the hidden compartments. Some of it you recognize, some of it you don't. Shipmine ROMs, shimmer, cryo chain codes, and then the final entry. Passenger, sleeper. You stare at the list on the terminal and try not to think about what it was like arriving here, in the cold for so long, half frozen in the freight container. Had this sleeper been smarter, luckier? How would they convince the Winter's Light, a smuggler ship if you even saw one, to extract them from SNR? Luckier, you laugh. There had been no remains found in any of the Winter Light's compartments. You had checked. They weren't so lucky, you guess. Not in the end. You hold up a vial of stabilizer to the light. This was all you find in their compartment. A parting gift from SNR. Well, it won't go to waste now. You put it back in your pocket. The thought still bothers you, though. 2 ships carrying sleepers coming into the same yard. 2, one after the other. That feels wrong. You flick back and forth between datasets on the terminal thinking, and you see the thumbprint again. The mark of someone trying to get in. Someone who entered the Winter Light with precision and speed, and when they were done, left the reactor to clean up the rest. The thought of that person makes you shiver. Suddenly, the office door creaks open. Drago stands in the doorway, staring at the equipment and notes you've assembled. What is all this? He snatches the slate from the desk faster than you realized he could move. You run an investigation here? What am I paying you for? The drone on his shoulder starts whining shrilly, his anger passing to it through his implants. He starts shaking his head. I know you have a lot of questions, but this isn't the way. He turns away, muttering to himself, this is the last thing I need. Who's bringing you these ships? Dragos freezes, suddenly angry. Why are you asking? You looking to get us both killed? We cut these things up. That's our part. Their part is something I don't want to know. Ooh, Dragos is shifty. He's shady. Holy shit. Dragos seems to steady himself and then turn back to you. The heat map of the reactor failure reflected in its headset's glassy eyes. I've given you a place to stay. I've given you work. He stumbled over the words, unsure what to say. There's plenty others who would have sold you on, turned you in, but not me, no. I know. He softens. Look, you've helped me too. He quiets the drone. I've done well by you, and you've returned the favor. He straightens up and clears his throat. But this obsession you have with this ship isn't going to work for me. I can't have you making my clients nervous. I can't have you digging up whatever it is you're after. You can't work here anymore. I need the work. There's plenty of work to be had on the ice. Salvagers need offloads in the rotunda, and yet again are always looking for crew. I'm not the only show in town. Dragos reaches across you and flicks off the terminal. As the light of the monitor dies, a kind of eerie calm falls on both of you. Whatever this was, it is done. You made it out, Sleeper. That means you have to move on. Someone killed that ship and its crew. And you want to meet him? He shakes his head. We're done here. In the dark, Dragos' headset glints, and you wish for a moment you could see his eyes and meet them. Maybe then he would understand. You get up from the desk, and Dragos gathers the notes, stuffing them into a pocket of his overalls. He holds the door for you, his head set expressionless as always. You can stay in the container. I won't take that from you. Don't come back. His tone is final, definitive, with an edge of disappointment. You walk out of the office and then out of the yard, not stopping to look back. You leave the yard, thumbing the vial in your pocket, knowing that this, at least, guarantees you a little more time. And as you walk, your mind once again drifts to that person who killed the Winter Light, and whether or not that person will come for you. Oh wow, we finished a drive. That's another upgrade point. I think that is going to do it for this video. So we need 2 upgrade points to do these, so I'm kind of loath to do them. I think I would prefer... let's try to make more money. And then, real fast, we're going to go here. The hunter is on to me, but I can get a keynote, I'm pretty sure right here for a 1. We're going to go ahead and extract the data. Alright. We have a key, which means when we return next video, we're going to go and open up this sealed dock with our second key. We got some money, we got some stabilizer, and we got some ship mine fragments. We got plenty of time to wait on helping Ethan out. We gotta go to Emphasis Stall for more food. Actually, let's do that real quick before I forget. Shouldn't be spending money, but I kind of need more eat. Okay. And finally... I could buy another piece of ship mine fragment. How many fragments do I need? They're about to leave, definitely. I mean, we have 3 already. How many fragments do we need? Oh well, we'll figure that out next time. I appreciate you all very much. Please like the video if you enjoyed. Comment, let me know what you think so far. Are you enjoying the game? Is this the kind of video you want to see from me from now on? I could start doing this more often. Maybe this can turn into my extra Sunday videos or something. I don't know. But please subscribe if you enjoyed and want to see more. I will talk to you all next time. Please have a good day, I guess. Bye.